Have you ever noticed how some people will go to extreme lengths just to steal someone else's moment? It's like they can't stand for anyone else to have the spotlight, especially if that person is family. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Hazel. Grab your coffee, because today we have some truly infuriating family drama. Our story today features two sisters, Calliope and Wren, and a very particular kind of mother. Calliope was the older sister, always responsible, always working hard, and always looking out for others. Wren was the younger, and from the very beginning, she was their mother's undeniable favorite. Their mum made it clear that Wren was the golden child, showering her with affection and financial support. Calliope often felt like an afterthought, constantly trying to earn her mother's approval, but always falling short. When it came time for college, Calliope worked 2 grueling jobs to put herself through school. She juggled classes, assignments, and shifts, often burning the candle at both ends to make ends meet. Meanwhile, their mum paid for Wren's entire college tuition, her textbooks, and her living expenses. Wren sailed through her degree with ease, never having to worry about money or student loans. After graduation, Calliope saved every penny she could, meticulously budgeting for her own apartment. She found a small but cozy place, proud of her independence and the hard work she put in. Her mum, of course, paid the security deposit and the first 6 months' rent for Wren's much larger apartment. Wren even got a brand new car as a graduation gift, while Calliope was still driving a confronted-up hand-me-down. Calliope tried not to let the unfairness bother her, reminding herself that her achievements were her own. She focused on her career, building a life for herself brick by painstaking brick. Years passed, and Calliope found love with a wonderful man named Gideon. Gideon cherished her, respected her independence, and saw all the qualities her mother seemed to overlook. Their relationship blossomed, and one beautiful evening, Gideon proposed. Calliope was absolutely overjoyed. She had finally found her person, her true partner in life. She called her mum and Wren to share the exciting news, expecting at least a little enthusiasm. Her mum gave a lukewarm congratulations, quickly changing the subject to Wren's latest job promotion. Calliope tried to push down the familiar sting of disappointment. She wouldn't let it dampen her happiness. They decided to host a small, intimate engagement party to celebrate with close friends and family. Calliope spent weeks planning every detail, wanting it to be a joyous occasion for everyone. She picked out her favorite flowers, curated a special playlist, and even baked a small celebratory cake. The evening arrived, and the party was in full swing. Laughter and conversation filled the air. Gideon stood by Calliope's side, beaming with pride as they mingled with their loved ones. Calliope felt genuinely happy, surrounded by people who truly cared about her and Gideon. Then, their mum decided it was time to make a toast, tapping her glass for everyone's attention. Calliope smiled, expecting a heartfelt congratulations for her and Gideon. Her mum began, "I just wanted to say how incredibly proud I am of my wonderful daughters." A familiar knot began to form in Calliope's stomach, recognizing the tone in her mother's voice. "And on this special occasion, I have another exciting announcement to share with all of you." Calliope exchanged a confused glance with Gideon, wondering what could possibly be more important right now. Her mum paused for dramatic effect, letting the anticipation build in the room. "My dear Wren," she declared, her voice ringing with overt excitement, "is also engaged." A collective gasp went through the room, followed by a flurry of whispers and murmurs. Wren, who had been standing quietly in the corner, suddenly had a ring on her finger. It was a much larger, more sparkling diamond than the modest one Gideon had given Calliope. Wren feigned surprise, but a triumphant smirk played on her lips as all eyes turned to her. Calliope felt a cold wave wash over her. Her own engagement announcement had been utterly eclipsed. Her mother had found yet another way to steal her spotlight, on her own special day. The mother, Margot, beamed at Wren, oblivious to Calliope's quiet heartbreak. "And we're going to have the most magnificent wedding for Wren and Silas," Margot announced loudly. She then turned to Calliope with a dismissive wave. Of course, for Calliope, something much simpler. After all, we've already helped her so much with Gideon's law school tuition. This was, of course, a complete fabrication. Calliope and Gideon were paying for everything themselves. Calliope felt a quiet fury ignite within her. This wasn't just about the money, it was about the public humiliation. She looked at Gideon, who squeezed her hand, a silent promise of support in his eyes. Calliope offered a tight, polite smile to her mother and sister. She wouldn't give them the satisfaction of a scene. But inside, a switch had flipped. This was the final straw in a lifetime of quiet injustices. The rest of the party passed in a blur of forced smiles and Wren's effusive excitement. Calliope and Gideon left early, politely declining to stay for more, quote-unquote, celebration. In the car, Gideon asked, "What are you thinking, my love?" Calliope stared out the window. "I'm thinking it's time for a different kind of independence." She had always dreamed of starting her own catering business, but fear had held her back. Now, that fear was replaced by a steely resolve. She would build something entirely her own. The next morning, Calliope sat down and started drafting a business plan. She researched local food trends, calculated startup costs, and outlined her unique vision. Gideon was her biggest cheerleader, offering financial advice and helping her refine her menu. Calliope spent her evenings and weekends in the kitchen, experimenting with recipes. Her apartment soon smelled constantly of herbs, spices, and freshly baked goods. She started small, catering for friends' birthday parties and local community events. Word quickly spread about her delicious food and meticulous presentation. Calliope poured every ounce of her energy and passion into her burgeoning business. She invested her own savings, refusing any offers of help from her mother. This venture was hers and hers alone. It was a quiet rebellion against years of feeling overlooked. Months turned into a year. Calliope's catering business, Calliope's kitchen, flourished. She had a small team, a fully equipped commercial kitchen, and a growing list of clients. The business was profitable and gaining a reputation for excellence in their city. Meanwhile, Wren's wedding planning was in full swing, meticulously funded by Margot. Calliope kept a polite distance from the wedding preparations, offering only superficial well wishes. She focused on her work, finding immense satisfaction in her accomplishments. She didn't seek conflict or confrontation. She was simply building her own world. Then, about a week before Wren's lavish wedding day, Calliope received a frantic phone call. It was Margot, her voice strained and on the verge of panic. "Calliope, you won't believe what's happened," Margot wailed into the phone. "The caterer for Wren's wedding? They've cancelled. Completely pulled out last minute." Calliope paused, a quiet calm settling over her. This was certainly a predicament for her mother. Margot continued, "It's a disaster! Everything is ruined! Wren is absolutely beside herself." You have to help us, Calliope. You're the only one who can save the wedding. Calliope listened patiently, letting her mother's desperate pleas wash over her. Mom, Calliope said, her voice even and professional, I run a successful catering company. I understand you're in a difficult situation, but my services are not free. Margot gasped on the other end. But family, Calliope, for your sister. My professional rate for a wedding of that size, last minute, is $15,000. And payment is required up front, before any preparations begin. No! Margot was absolutely speechless for a moment. Then she erupted in a flurry of indignation. $15,000, Calliope? Are you completely out of your mind? This is your sister's wedding. It's family. You can't charge us that much. Calliope remained calm and collected on the other end of the line. That is my standard rate, Mum, especially for a rush job of this magnitude. And as I said, it's non-negotiable and required before I lift a single finger, Udlum. Margot sputtered, trying every guilt trip in her arsenal, but Calliope didn't budge. The sheer panic in Margot's voice was evident as she realized Wren's wedding was truly on the brink. There were no other options, no other caterers available on such short notice. Fine, Margot finally hissed, defeat heavy in her tone. Send me your bank details. Calliope sent the information, a small, knowing smile playing on her lips. Within the hour, her phone pinged with a notification. $15,000 had cleared. The funds were secure, and Calliope immediately began mobilizing her team. It was a hectic scramble, but Calliope thrived under pressure, especially when the stakes were personal. Her kitchen was a hive of activity, preparing an exquisite menu for Wren's big day. Calliope's staff, fiercely loyal, worked tirelessly to meet the impossible deadline. The wedding day dawned, bright and beautiful, reflecting the meticulous planning. Calliope personally oversaw every detail, from the presentation of the appetizers to the main course. The food was a resounding success, earning rave reviews from all the guests. Wren looked radiant, completely unaware of the drama that had unfolded behind the scenes. Margot, though still seething internally, put on a brave face, basking in the glow of the successful event. Calliope packed up her equipment and left, the $15,000 resting safely in her account. The very next morning, Calliope made a phone call to a local community foundation. This particular foundation specialized in providing educational scholarships to deserving students. She explained her desire to establish a new scholarship fund immediately. I'd like to make a significant donation, Calliope stated, her voice clear and resolved. And I wish for the scholarship to be named in honor of my late father, Entwells. She provided his full name, Gideon Silas Vance. The foundation representative was delighted and processed the donation. Calliope transferred the entire $15,000. Not a penny of Margot's money would stay in Calliope's personal accounts. This was the true culmination of her long-held plan, a quiet act of profound significance. Margot had worked so hard for years to erase Gideon Silas Vance from their lives. She rarely mentioned him and certainly never honored his memory publicly. It was as if he had simply vanished from the family narrative she crafted. But Calliope remembered him, and she cherished his memory deeply. This scholarship ensured his name would not only live on, but would do so with purpose. It would empower future generations, a legacy Margot could never touch. Calliope didn't immediately announce her charitable act to her mother. she allowed the news to travel through the community, as good deeds often do. It started with whispers, then local news snippets about the generous new scholarship. Eventually, an article appeared in the local paper highlighting the Gideon Silas Vance Scholarship. Margot, reading her morning paper, froze when she saw the familiar name. Her eyes scanned the details, the amount, the purpose. The realization confronted her like a physical blow, cold and absolute. Margot felt a hot wave of indignation wash over her. This was impossible. Her mother had spent years erasing Gideon from their family history, avoiding his name at all costs. And now, a scholarship, a public tribute, bearing his full name, was staring her in the face. She knew instantly who was behind it. There was only one person who would dare. Margot stormed over to her mother's house, the newspaper clutched in her trembling hand. "What is this?" she demanded, thrusting the article forward. "How could you let this happen?" Her mother, who was sipping her morning coffee, squinted at the paper. Her expression slowly shifted from confusion to a dawning, terrible understanding. "Gideon? A scholarship?" Her voice was a strained whisper, laced with disbelief. "Did Delaney do this? Did she use that wedding money?" Her mother's eyes widened in horror. Margot watched as her mum's face contorted, piecing together the events of the last few weeks. The large sum paid to Delaney, the sudden disappearance of her father's forgotten name. It all clicked into place, with a sickening thud. "That scheming, selfish person!" her mother shrieked, slamming her coffee cup down. "She took my money and used it to spite me, to honor that man." Margot felt a perverse satisfaction mixed with her own fury. Their mother was finally seeing. "You need to call her, Mum," Margot urged. "Demand she return that money immediately." Her mother grabbed her phone, her fingers shaking as she dialed Delaney's number. The call went straight to voicemail. Delaney had anticipated this, of course. A cold, calculated move. Mom left a furious, rambling message, threats and accusations flying. Later that day, Delaney called back, calm and collected, as if nothing were amiss. "So, you found out, Mom," Delaney stated, her voice devoid of any remorse. Her mother launched into a tirade, demanding explanations, demanding the money back. "That was my money, Delaney. How dare you disrespect me and your sister like this?" Delaney listened patiently, letting the storm pass before she finally spoke. "It was your money, yes, Mom, for services rendered, services you begged for." "And the scholarship? That was my money to do with as I pleased, wasn't it?" "You always favored Margot, Mom. Paid for her college, her car, her apartment. I worked 2 jobs, paid for everything myself, with not so much as a thank you. You tried to erase Dad from our lives, from our memories, like he never existed, Aunt Gleph. You stole my engagement spotlight, then refused to pay for my wedding." Etanor. "But when Margot's caterer cancelled, suddenly I was good enough, wasn't I? You needed me. You paid my rate, a rate you agreed to up front. That money was mine, Mom. My hard-earned compensation for my skills and time. And I chose to honor a good man, a father you tried to make us forget." End Klesmer. "A man who actually loved us equally, unlike you." Her mother was speechless, the weight of Delaney's words settling heavily upon her. Every grievance, every slight, laid bare, undeniable. The cold, hard truth of her favoritism and neglect. Delaney had delivered justice, swift and precise, a lifetime of slights repaid. There was nothing her mother could do. The money was gone, legally and irrevocably. The Gideon Silas Vance Scholarship was a permanent fixture in the community, a constant, public reminder of her late husband and Delaney's quiet triumph. Her mother had to live with the knowledge that she funded her own comeuppance. And all of it, thanks to her, quote, favourite daughter's wedding. It truly was a masterclass in quiet, cold, and utterly legal comeuppance, don't you think? Delaney didn't raise her voice. She didn't scream. She didn't even make a scene. She just patiently waited for the perfect storm, and then she delivered the consequences. Her mother, who had always played favourites and manipulated her daughters, got a taste of her own medicine. Not only did she pay for the entire wedding, but that money went to permanently honour her ex-husband, the man she tried so hard to erase from their lives, now etched into the community's memory. All funded by her, and all thanks to her precious favourite daughter's big day. It really goes to show you that sometimes the quiet ones are the ones you need to watch out for. They might not make a fuss, but they are absolutely capable of playing the long game. And when their moment comes, they will deliver a perfectly chilled dish of justice. What an incredible story of standing up for yourself, even when it feels like the world is against you. Delaney wasn't just getting even. She was reclaiming her worth and honouring her father's legacy. It's a powerful reminder that true strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's incredibly strategic. All right, coffee's probably gone cold by now, but my heart is warm with this story of justice served. What do you guys think? Have you ever had to deal with a parent who played extreme favourites? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I always love hearing your perspectives. If you enjoyed this tale, please confronted that like button, subscribe for more stories, and share it with a friend. Until next time, stay cozy and remember to always trust your gut.